Welcome and congratulations to this year's California Book Award winners. I'm Gravity Goldberg, jury chair for the Commonwealth Club's 95th Annual California Book Awards. Since 1931, these awards have honored the exceptional literary merit of California's writers and publishers. To be eligible, a book must be written while its author lives in California and published during the year under consideration. For 95 years, the program has championed the voices that have come to define California to the world, from John Steinbeck to Joan Didion, Amy Tan to Tommy Orange, and tonight we add this year's medalists to that history. Choosing the best among hundreds of remarkable books is never easy, but our jury read deeply and debated thoroughly to arrive at this year's gold and silver medalists in 8 categories: fiction, first fiction, nonfiction, poetry, juvenile, young adult, Californiana, and contribution to publishing. Before we begin, a few thank yous. To Commonwealth Club President and CEO Gloria Duffy for her continued support of this program, to Sean Burmeister for his tireless work coordinating with the publishers and supporting the jury, and to our dedicated jurors who spent months reading and debating to bring you tonight's winners: Chris Chen, Nicole Cooksey, Mary Alice Daniels, Roy Eisenhart, Peter Fish, Kelly Loy Gilbert, Mary Ellen Hannibal, Gordon Jack, Natalie Kankan, Cindy Ock, Julie Flynn Seiler, Mary Tauger, and Dora Wang. One last note: submissions for the 96th Annual California Book Awards, honoring books published in 2026, opens this August. We hope to see your book next year.
Hi, I'm Peter Fish, and I'm one of the jurors for the fiction and first fiction categories of the California Book Awards. I'm pleased to present our 2026 winners. In fiction, our finalists were Moderation by Elaine Castillo, Where Are You Really From by Elaine Shea Chow, Sky Daddy by Kate Folk, Are You Happy by Laurie Osland, and Sacrament by Susan Straight. Our gold medal goes to Sacrament by Susan Straight. Set in California's Inland Empire in the early days of COVID, Sacrament follows a group of ICU nurses on the pandemic front lines, living in RVs in a hospital parking lot, tending the sick and dying, while their home lives, wayward children, worried spouses, aging relatives, stagger on in the virus's shadow. Sacrament is a timely, harrowing, deeply moving portrait of heroism. And now, Susan Straight.
Hi, I'm Susan Straight. I'm sitting here in my house in Riverside, California, and immensely grateful to thank you for the gold medal in fiction awarded by the Commonwealth Club of California, a group I admire immensely. Being a native Californian and always having written about this Southern California, my people here and the narratives that they share with me. Sacrament is a book about grief, but also about happiness and joy and Mexican candy shots. And I'm sitting next to the front window where my nurse friends and neighbors, as well as traveling nurses, would stop on the sidewalk near 10 p.m. on their way home from the hospital around the corner and tell me what they did during COVID and about the people that they cared for and how tenderly they felt towards those people. Also, a lowrider funeral passed by right outside this window one morning, and I ran outside and was so moved to see all the 64 Impalas and the 30 men driving them who were sobbing for their friend who'd lost his life. All those stories make their way into my books, and I'm really grateful for the California Book Award. When I was 19, I started my first novel, High Wire Moon, and I was working at a gas station not far from here at the time. High Wire Moon was published in 2001 and won the silver medal, so to be accepting this medal 25 years later for Sacrament is a huge thrill. And I do have to thank all my DJ friends who got me through the last 6 years: Mr. Blue, Angel Baby, Miss Alanette, and Jimmy Reyes. I really have to thank my whole community, because that's who allows me to write, is everyone's love and care and everyone's storytelling. I'm a good listener, but my friends are great storytellers. and also my 3 daughters who read the things I write and make fun of me, which I think is the best editing of all. Thanks to my team at Counterpoint, and again, thank you so much for this award.
Our silver medal in fiction goes to Sky Daddy by Kate Folk. In this surreal comic novel, Folk introduces us to Linda, a San Francisco tech worker with a passionate erotic attachment to commercial jetcraft. Sky Daddy is wildly funny, sharply observant about dating and families and life in the Bay Area circa 2026, and unlike anything you've read before. We welcome Kate Folk.
I want to thank the Commonwealth Club for awarding Sky Daddy the Silver Medal in Fiction this year. It's such an honor, especially because it's such a Californian book. It's mostly set in San Francisco. And my main character, Linda, grew up in Irvine. If you know anything about the book, you know Linda really loves planes. And so she grew up flying out of John Wayne Airport and has come to live in San Francisco, in part because she wants to be close to SFO, which is just a much larger airport and offers a lot more action for her. So I wanted to depict in the book parts of the city and the region that aren't as commonly shown in media, like the Richmond and Sunset and Stonestown Mall, Daly City, Riding BART, Riding Muni, the air train at SFO, that kind of thing. And I'm not originally from here. I grew up in Iowa, but I moved to San Francisco in 2008, really for no reason. And I've stayed here ever since. So this really feels like home to me. It's where I developed my writing, and a lot of my work has been really deeply influenced by living here. So it's such an honor to receive this award in particular. And I want to thank the jurors and my team at Random House, and congratulations to the other medalists and finalists. Thank you so much.
In first fiction, our finalists were My Train Leaves at 3 by Natalie Guerrero, Awake in the Floating City by Susanna Kwan, and Too Soon by Betty Shemiya. Our medal goes to Awake in the Floating City by Susanna Kwan. In the near future, San Francisco is drowning, soaked by ceaseless rains, its neighborhood sunken beneath hundreds of feet of ocean. In this sodden world, a young artist, Bo, makes friends with an elderly woman, Mia, and becomes fascinated by her stories of the city that existed before the flood. This exquisitely written novel reveals the young coming to understand the old and coming to appreciate the past when the future is anything but certain. Here is Susanna Kwan.
Hi, I'm Susanna Kwan, author of Awake in the Floating City. Thank you to the Commonwealth Club and the judges of the California Book Award for this incredible recognition of my work. Thank you also to my family, my agent, Mariah Spence, my editor, Naomi Gibbs, and the whole team at Pantheon, and to everyone who has helped bring this book into being, and to readers who carry the story with them. I'm so grateful. Today I'm thinking about my relatives who arrived in California in many waves, starting in the late 1800s and up through the 1970s, how their lives enabled my own, how they helped shape the California we know today, and how the choices we make now are creating the world future generations will inherit. I was born and raised in California and have spent most of my life in San Francisco, and my novel is a love letter to this ever-changing place that made me. It's an exploration of many different layers of history, geological, social, ecological, personal, and even imaginary, that make up this city. It's an exploration of how art can help us make sense of who we are to each other and of our relationship to place. And I think most of all, it's a story about how we take care of each other in times of crisis, on personal and collective scales, and how that experience of connection transforms us and ripples out into the worlds to come. Thank you again, and congratulations to all of the nominees and winners this year. I'm honored to be in the company of such amazing writers in the collective project of telling wildly different, urgent, and essential stories about life in California.
Before announcing the 2026 California Book Awards finalists, I'd like to thank the poetry subjurists, Natalie Concan, Cindy Ju-Young Oak, and Mary Alice Daniel. The finalists are S is 4 by William R. Sheila, Strange Flowers by Brian Birdlong, Green of All Heads by Araceli Gourmet, and Ars Poeticus by Juliana Spar, and finally Fuel by Rosie Stockton. The winner is Green of All Heads by Araceli Gourmet. Congratulations.
Hello, my name is Araceli Gourmet, and I am just so grateful and astonished still to receive this award for my book, Green of All Heads. I want to thank the judges who, have read with such generosity and care, and I think the work of judging, the way I think about it is that it's such impossible work, and I know that it's labor, and I just thank you all for your time and care and encouragement. And it's really incredible to be in such a powerful, beautiful constellation with my fellow finalists. Thank you all for your work. And for this book specifically, which was written in memory of and toward my beautiful, beautiful, brilliant father, Gurmai Kaleta, who came to California about 50 or so years ago with my mom. And I think so much about how he spent his life, so much of his life, alongside so many in his generation, working toward an independent Eritrea, but also toward the futures of Eritreans here, especially in Southern California. And so for this book to be honored here in this way is really so remarkable and moving and humbling. And I just want to thank my family for making the heart, my life possible, and to my publisher, Peter Connors, and the whole BOA team for your mighty work as a small independent press alongside so many small independent presses who are under such pressure these years. And, for you all to make it possible for us to write our poems and share them in the ways that we do is really just such mighty work. And I thank you all. I'm honored to be in this work with you, and I hope that you all are taking strongest care. Thank you again, and be well.
Hi, my name is Gordon Jack, and I'm the chair of the Juvenile and Young Adult Subjury. And this year's finalists in the Young Adult category are Trans History by Alex L. Combs and Andrew Eckett, Song of a Blackbird by Maria Van Lieshout, I Wish I Didn't Have to Tell You This by Eugene Yelchin, All the Tomorrows After by Joanne Yee, and Arm in Arm by Angelica Shirley Carpenter. And this year's gold medal goes to Trans History by Alex L. Combs and Andrew Eckett. What does trans mean, and what does it mean to be trans today? Combs and Eckett try to answer this complex question in their examination of notable historic and contemporary trans people. In addition to these profiles, the authors examine larger issues concerning gender, sex, and human rights. In vibrant illustrations and clear texts, the authors offer an essential introduction to this important and overlooked history. And now, Alex L. Combs and Andrew Eckett.
I'm Andrew, and this is my husband, Alex, and we're the co-creators of Trans History from Ancient Times to the Present Day, a graphic novel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for selecting our book for the California Book Awards. This is such an amazing honor, and we're in such wonderful company. We want to thank a couple people. First of all, Zabea Lore, our agent, And second of all, the entire team at Candlewick Press who published our book. They've been amazing and so supportive throughout this whole process, especially our editor, Andrea Tompa, who really helped take this book to the next level and make it really good. Also, we got to thank all the historians and archivists who actually did the hardest part, which was to do all this research and to make it available for us to find and read and learn and condense a small part of into this comic book that you can hopefully might be a little more easily consumable. And lastly, but not least, the entire last chapter of the book is original interviews that I did with people from the trans community, artists, activists, historians, and these interviews really helped shape the book and gave it a wider variety of perspectives that really, I think, elevated the book and made it so much better.
It feels like a pretty meaningful statement for our book to be honored in this time of LGBTQ book bans across the US. Transgender is a new word, but the people it was coined to describe are not new, no matter who tries to hide that fact. Our book talks about ancient Mesopotamia and pre-colonial Ecuador, medieval Europe, the colonization of the Americas, all including some version of transness in the historical record. In fact, we had to leave out a lot of stories so the book wouldn't get too long.
Yeah, that was perhaps the most mind-blowing part of all this is trans history is pretty much anywhere you look, and it was really hard to just pick what to include in the book out of so much that's out there. So with this award, we really hope that people outside the trans community will take interest in this subject and pursue it further, include it in the regular history curriculums that are being learned and taught, and just for your average person who's interested in history. We are there, we're part of history, and just as much as anyone else. So thank you so much for helping us get the word out.
Thanks again.
I'm pleased to announce the finalists in the juvenile category this year are Outsider Kids by Betty Tang, The Undead Fox of Deadwood Forest by Aubrey Hartman, Stalactite and Stalagmite by Drew Beckmeyer, Aggie and the Ghost by Matthew Forsyth, The History of We by Nicholas Smith, and Dreams to Ashes by Livia Blackburn. And the gold medal this year goes to Aggie and the Ghost by Matthew Forsyth. When a ghost starts haunting Aggie's home, she's more annoyed than scared. The ghost interrupts her routines and leaves a mess wherever it goes. Aggie is determined to be free of this pest, but it turns out ghosts are hard to get rid of. They don't follow rules and can't be beaten at tic-tac-toe. When the ghost finally disappears, Aggie doesn't experience the relief she thought she would, leaving her to wonder if being haunted is such a bad thing. The story takes place in a fairy tale-like setting with beautiful colors and hilarious images, making this journey of reluctant friendship a joy to read and share. And now, Matthew Forsyth.
Thank you. I just want to say I came to California 10 years ago to work in the animation industry, and that industry is now going through huge transitions because of digital processes. This book today that you're awarding was made with messy, human, organic processes. I made it with paint and paper and brushes, and I just want to thank you for awarding my messy, human, organic work, and I want you to please continue to support messy, human work. I want to thank my agent, Judy Hansen, and my publisher, Paula Wiseman, who are like family to me now. It's been 20 years we've been working together. And I want to thank everyone on the jury for even including me in the same conversation as these other books. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
And this year's silver medal goes to Stalactite and Stalagmite by Drew Beckmeyer. Beckmeyer's book covers Earth's geological history, spanning millions of years of evolution. While the scope of the book is vast, its focus is intimate, chronicling the growing friendship of two rock formations in a cave. The two grow closer, both physically and emotionally, as they gaze in wonder at the changing world around them. And now, Drew Beckmeyer.
Hi, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank the Commonwealth Club of California. I want to thank my agent, Stephanie Farwell-Hill, and my editor on Stalactite and Stalagmite, Christy Choi. Also, everyone at Athenium and Simon & Schuster who've done work behind the scenes to get this book out into the world, done things that I will never see or know, but it's so appreciated. I want to thank my family, my wife and my son, who are always first readers on every weird idea I have. Winning this award in California is really special to me. I'm a lifelong Californian, and I wrote this book about two cave formations that grow together over millions of years. I can remember distinctly the first time I saw these two cave formations, and it was in Crystal Cave in Sequoia National Park when my parents took me there on a road trip. So it's a really nice full circle moment for me to win this award in this state with this book. I want to thank the other nominees. It's an honor to be included with all the names. And to just be included in the conversation that the Commonwealth Club is having with literature, and especially with kids' books. Thank you.
Hello there, my name is Mary Ellen Hannibal, and I am a longtime member of the Book Awards jury of the Commonwealth Club of California. I read for nonfiction, and this year it is my pleasure to bring to you the finalists and the winners in that category. I want to note that the 5 finalists for nonfiction are all very wonderful books, and the experience of reading all 5 of them give you a kaleidoscopic and yet penetrating experience of both our specific moment in time and a perspective on that moment in time. So here are the 5 finalists: Seeking Shelter by Jeff Hobbs, A Greek Tragedy by Jean Carstensen, Poppy State by Miriam Gerba, When It All Burns by Jordan Thomas, and Rehab by Shoshona Walter. And the winner of the Gold Award for Nonfiction 2026 goes to Seeking Shelter by Jeff Hobbs, and the Silver Award goes to A Greek Tragedy by Jean Carstensen.
Hi, I am so grateful for this award. I'm humbled and thrilled for the California Book Award in Nonfiction. I'm thankful to the California Commonwealth Club and the jurors. This is a list that includes everyone from John Steinbeck to Michael Crichton to Rachel Kushner to Hector Tobar, authors I admire so much, and I'm just so thrilled to be able to join that list. It really is special. I've lived in California for over 20 years, and I've written 3 books that take place in California, and I'm probably just now starting to see myself as a Californian, and this award helps a lot. It's a state that is irresistible in its promises and haunting in its challenges, and this book, Seeking Shelter, contains a little bit of both. It's about a mother and her children who came here for the promises and reached a spot where the mother, Evelyn, felt like she had to choose between sending her kids to a decent public school or having a stable home to live in. And she chose school. And for 5 years, whether they were sleeping in an emergency shelter or in her car, she dropped them off at school every day, and she went to her job as a waitress, and she picked them up, and she went over homework, and they survived. And right now, her oldest son is a sophomore in college. So again, it holds the promise and the challenges. When I first started writing this book, I didn't intend it as a story that should make you feel guilty for having a home. It's really just a story about how much people will do for each other when they love each other. And it's a book that is meant to bring us closer to the humans behind the big crises. When I first sat down with Evelyn to talk about telling her story, She knew what it was about and what the purpose was. All she wanted to tell me about was her kids and Little League and dance class and art projects and math homework. And she just felt like if sharing her story might spare some other mother the judgment that she experienced while homeless, then it would be worthwhile. And I think she accomplished that. And again, I'm so grateful for this notice. Evelyn and her kids are so grateful. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Jean Karstensen, and I'm thrilled to be the Silver Medal Award winner in nonfiction for this year's California Book Awards. I spent almost a decade researching and writing about a refugee shipwreck off the Greek island of Lesbos in 2015 that took more than 75 lives. I wrote this book because I really wanted to understand the human experience of the refugees on that boat, and also that of the local Greeks and rescuers who tried to help them. I mean, the shipwreck was a singular event, but any of us could find ourselves in a similar situation, having to flee our homes in search of safety due to war or maybe wildfire, or living somewhere where people are arriving in need of help. As I was writing this, my phone lit up with a text saying that 10 migrants had drowned in a shipwreck off of Malta, a reminder that these tragedies are ongoing. Over 30,000 migrants have drowned in the Mediterranean in the last decade alone. Our asylum system is broken. After the shipwreck on Lesbos in 2015, a cafe owner held a nearly drowned child from the shipwreck in his lap inside his car with his heater blasting to try and keep her alive. And another woman, a grandmother, cared for a solo child overnight until his parents could be found. In the face of the Trump administration's brutality toward immigrants, at least we see similar caring acts. Volunteers accompanying people to their immigration hearings, for example, or parents in Minneapolis dropping off food to immigrants too afraid to leave their homes. It's these kind of people-to-people actions that do give me hope. I'd like to thank the Commonwealth Club and the judges for this award. Also, my team at One Signal, my agent, Lori Liss, my partner, Clara Basile, for so much support. This is such a huge honor. Thank you very much.
The nonfiction jury of the Commonwealth Club also discerns among two further awards. One is called Californiana, which is kind of what it sounds like, a book that is focused on a deep aspect of our state, and Contribution to Publishing, which is shared by a publisher and an author. This year, 2026, in Californiana is awarded to When It All Burns by Jordan Thomas.
I just want to start off by thanking you for this tremendous honor. There's really no award that would be a greater honor than this one. Because fundamentally, When It All Burns is a story about how the people of California created wildfires, and how wildfires have in turn created California. I hope that readers can find in this book a distillation of what it means to navigate these strange times. And When It All Burns, the people doing this navigation are doing so in extreme situations of life and death. These people are called hotshots. Hotshots is the official job title of the special forces of wildland firefighters. Imagine fighting a fire with a chainsaw. Hotshots mountaineer with these chainsaws in the most extreme conditions on record, navigating the edges of the largest wildfires on record. They're the equivalent of Olympic athletes with levels of environmental knowledge that exceed the best available science. Hotshots are also navigating the broken systems and institutions of our society. They often don't have health care. When they're injured on the job, they often rely on GoFundMe to pay their bills. The leaders of our fossil fuel industry are changing the climate and making hotshots' working conditions more dangerous. Meanwhile, hotshots' jobs are being gutted by couch potato billionaires who use fake chainsaws as stage props. As we enter what will likely be the hottest summer on record, and could easily become the worst fire season on record, I just want to keep emphasizing a point from my book, which is that at its core, the wildfire crisis is a crisis of American capitalism. And the solutions are actually relatively simple. We need to get those billionaires using their fake chainsaws out of office, get working people like the hotshots in office, tax those billionaires out of existence, and use that money to rebuild our systems of care, ecologically and socially. If there's one thing wildfires tell us, it's that caring for our people is caring for the land. We're all in this together. I want to thank the jury who read my book. Thanks to my mom, thanks to my dad, my brother Kevin, my sisters Rachel, Lauren, and Alyssa, Vasily Marku, my PhD supervisor Barbara Herr Harthorn, my agent Alice Whitwam, my editor Courtney Young, and everybody at Riverhead. Thanks to all the wildland firefighters, especially Matthew Aoki, and to all the forest management personnel, especially Nicole Molinari. And finally, thanks to Emmeline Laney, my fiance.
Contribution to publishing is shared between Backcountry Press and David Schmidt for the San Francisco Bay Area, an environmental history.
I'm Michael Kaufman, co-owner of Backcountry Press, and on behalf of our small team, thank you to the California Book Awards for this incredible honor. We're deeply humbled to receive the gold medal for contributions to publishing for San Francisco Bay Area and environmental history by David Schmidt. At Backcountry Press, we believe books can help people see the landscapes around them more clearly, not just as scenery, but as living systems shaped by geology, water, fire, plants, animals, and generations of human stories. This book embodies that vision beautifully. The San Francisco Bay Area is often thought of through its cities and bridges and culture, but David's work reminds us that beneath and around all of that is an ancient ecological story, one still unfolding today. From tidal marshes and oak woodlands to redwood forests, fog, and serpentine ridges, this region is alive with deep natural history. The book asks readers to slow down and understand the Bay Area as a connected landscape where ecology and humanity are inseparable. As an independent publisher based in Northern California, Humboldt County in fact, this recognition means a great deal to us. Small presses often work quietly, fueled more by passion than by resources. We take on projects because we believe that they matter, because we believe regional stories, field knowledge, science, art, and place-based writing deserve careful attention and beautiful presentation. This is especially meaningful because it marks our second California Book Award. In 2023, our book, The Klamath Mountains and Natural History, received a gold medal for contributions to publishing. And to be recognized again by this community feels both humbling and deeply encouraging for our press. We are especially grateful to David Schmidt for his years of dedication and scholarship in creating this remarkable work. We also want to thank the many editors and designers, photographers, printers, booksellers, and readers who have helped bring all of our books along, like this one, into the world. This award also reflects a broader community of people working to deepen our relationship with the natural world. Educators, scientists, conservationists, librarians, and curious readers of all ages. At a time when so many people feel disconnected from the landscapes that sustain them, we believe books still matter. They help us remember where we are, they help us pay attention, and hopefully they inspire more stewardship for the wonderful places that we call home. Thank you again to the California Book Awards for this recognition, and congratulations to all the other authors and publishers who have been recognized tonight.
Congratulations to our medal winners and to all of our finalists. Thank you for joining us in the celebration of the depth and breadth and creativity of California literature. And as always, happy reading.